and I am the chair of the hashtag CAP, which stands for College Admissions Process Committee. And we'll talk to you a little bit more about that briefly later. This session tonight is how to navigate the college search during a pandemic. And so we know you may have done some college searching, but it has been very different now that you're in this pandemic or we're in this pandemic. And so we've got some experts that are from universities that can give you some great insight on how to, and they just so happen to be on this committee, which is even better. And they can give you some great information about navigating the college search during a pandemic. So we'll go to the next slide.
Should we do some quick introductions and then go on to the next slide? Does that sound good? So my name is Nancy Gibson, and I'm a member of Alpha Sigma Omega chapter and a part of the hashtag CAP committee. But in my daily job, I am a Senior Associate Director of Admissions and Director of Multi-Ethnic Admission at Denison University. So Toysia, you want to go next? Oh, unmute yourself.
Okay. Hopefully you don't hear stuff in the background, but hi, I'm Toysia Hegg-Palmer. I am a member of this committee as well in chapter. In my day job, I am the Director of Student Support Services at the University of Toledo, where I am currently right now as we speak.
Good evening. I'm a member of the committee in the chapter as well. My name is Lorraine Pennyman, and I'm Director of Leadership and Engagement in Fisher College of Business at The Ohio State University.
All right. And I said my name is Seneca Dean, but in my day job, I work in family and community engagement, but I spent many years as a high school counselor in Columbus City Schools. Right. So, of course, Zoom etiquette, you're probably zoomed out, and so you know these etiquette rules, but we like to start on common ground in our workshops. So if you have not done so already, introduce yourself in the chat. Let us know what school you attend, what grade you're in, all that good information. And then parents, if you're here, how did you hear about the event? We always like to know. If you want to speak, we're a small enough and intimate group, and so you can raise your hand or so that we know that you want to speak and or put things in the chat. We do ask that you keep yourself on mute though, because background noise happens unexpectedly. And so if you're not speaking, again, keep yourself on mute and then have fun and stay engaged. This is meant to be informative, but it is not meant to be punitive. So we want you to have a good time and to get any questions that you have answered, because again, you have some great people here that do this for a living and have helped lots and lots of students. And so now's your time to ask in a smaller forum. And then the last thing is hashtag CAP, I did mention, is the college admission process. And it's our signature program for our international program of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And it's simple. We want to help students to facilitate your college application and research process. And so whatever that looks like, these workshops are designed for you. If there is a workshop that maybe you would be interested in, you can also put that in the chat and we can consider and think about that, because we want to hear again from our students what you are interested in understanding about the college admissions process. So I will turn it over to Nancy, who will get you started.
Okay, thank you so much, Seneca. So this whole session is about how to find a college during a pandemic and from your home. And so we're going to give you some tips on how to do that and how you can find college from your couch. It actually can be done, and many students are doing that. And many students did it this past year as we headed into this pandemic. So colleges, as we've been all dealing with this, have actually been making changes as well to accommodate you. So keep that in mind. And we all are learning how to be flexible and how to shift things around so that we can reach students. And that's what's most important. You can build relationships with colleges from your home. You can connect with colleges from your home, and you actually can build a list and narrow down your search from your home. So that's what we really want to talk about and focus on this evening, is how you can do that and give you some tips on how to navigate that whole process. And I know we have a wide range of ages of students, from sophomores and freshmen all the way up to juniors and maybe even a senior, and some parents as well. So we've got a wide range and everybody is at different stages, but we think this can be really helpful information for you as we go along. So let me get to the next one. So conducting your search, let's get into it. So building your list. So you may have heard from your high school counselor or from friends and family, like, hey, you've got to have a list of colleges that you're thinking about. It's really important to think about yourself, and it's going to sound really funny, but the college search process is really kind of a selfish time for you. So colleges want to hear about you, from you, and they really want to make sure that ultimately we all want to make sure that you find a good fit. And so building your list, you're looking at your interests. So do I want a college in a big city, in a small town, in a rural area, in an urban area? Am I looking for a certain major? Am I wanting to make sure that I live on a campus? Do I want certain activities? Am I an athlete? Do I want to try and make sure that a particular college has my particular sport? So when you do that, and do I want to be in state or out of state? When you do that, you're putting together a list of schools based on your own personal checklist. So things that you want to make sure that the ultimate college for you has. And so you can put together a really big list to start with. I've done this for many, many years. So I'm actually going into my 30th year in college admissions. So I have worked with a lot of students over the years. And some students will have really, really big lists. They may have, 20 students or 20 schools that they're starting with, and they narrow it down. Other students might have 10 colleges that they're starting with to narrow down their list. But ultimately, you do have to narrow down your list to narrow down your choices. So ultimately, I always give this advice. It's good to have, I would say, 5 to 7 colleges that are on your short list. And then from there, you whittle it down. So you will probably a good number of schools to apply to. Again, 5 to 7, some may apply to 10, that's fine. But ultimately, it's going to make it more difficult the more colleges you have to try and decide where it is that you want to go. Once you've heard back from all of your colleges, then you want to whittle it down even more to maybe your top 3, so that ultimately you can find your fit. And so in doing your college search, these are a variety of things that you can do to help you put together that list and then narrow down your choices. So that's what we want to try and show you how to do. So first and foremost, college websites are a great place to go to get a lot of information. And actually colleges, especially during this time, have really, really beefed up their college websites, added some things that they may not have previously had. Most colleges are going to have a fast facts section somewhere on their website. It might be on the home page, it might be on an admissions page or about page. Most places have an about page. That's where you literally can get statistics. So you can get really quick stats, quick pieces of information, like how big is the college? How many majors does the college offer? How many students are from in-state, out of state? So there's a lot of really quick facts that you can get on a fast facts section of a website. Then almost all college websites are going to have admissions pages. So that's where you can find out about admission requirements, deadlines, how to actually go on and get onto a mailing list. And that's something that's really important to do, because if there are colleges you're interested in, you absolutely want to sign up to get more information. So get on some of those mailing lists. If you like to have a lot of mail, and a lot of that's email, you can sign up on a lot of mailing lists. Just know that your inbox is going to get bombarded because you've got a lot of colleges that you've signed up to get information from. You can find virtual opportunities. You can find a person like me, your admissions representative, okay? So your admissions page is going to be full of information for you to be able to go to get the really important details for the admissions process, okay? And then there are academic major pages. So If you're interested in a certain major, let's say you're really interested in biology, or you're looking at a college that has a conservatory of music, or a school of nursing, or a business school. There are lots of different pages that'll give you lots of details on all of those academic programs so that you can truly find the majors that interest you. If you're undecided, that's okay. This gives you an opportunity to literally look at all kinds of majors and see what looks interesting as well. So college websites are going to have a lot of information for you to get started so that ultimately you can put together that checklist and for you, and then that list of colleges that's going to help you throughout this process. And then there also are some key pages to focus on. So look for the student activities pages. Look for support services, like maybe you're somebody who may need some help with note taking, or you've got a learning disability, or you need a tutor. A support services page will show you all of that information. There are athletics pages and fine arts pages, places where you can find out about organizations and community service. Diversity, which is really important as well as you're looking at these various colleges. What's this particular college going to be all about? Is it a place that I can feel comfortable if I'm coming from a diverse background? What does the diversity look like? Then the websites will have a lot of different videos where you can get a sense of student life, the campus community, you can see speakers and performances and so forth. And then there are also virtual opportunities for virtual tours and panels and info sessions. And we'll go a little bit more into that with what you can find with that. But just to kind of give you a lay of the land to get a sense of what a particular college website might have to offer. So what I'm going to actually do is I'm actually going to go on to Denison's website so you can actually get a sense of what a college website looks like and how to navigate it a little bit. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen and I am going to hop on to another screen here and we'll pull this up. Okay, hopefully everybody can see this. So this is just the main page of the website to hopefully kind of give you a sense of how you would go on and navigate. I'm just kind of having to move my screen around here a little bit. But to go to the search button, you're able to see all these different areas that you can browse. So for example, if we went to the admissions page, and as I pull this up, hopefully you'll get a chance to see it. There we go. As we go to the admissions page, you can see all the different things that you can do to be able to learn more about this institution. And then you've got a lot of great pictures and all that good stuff. But I do want to show you the virtual connections just so you can get a sense of where to find this. A lot of colleges have created virtual pages, so you know where to kind of find all of their virtual information. So look for that. That's kind of a key word, virtual connections. But here's where you can click on the virtual tour. You can actually do an info session and sign up for an information session. We have various webinars, for example. So if a student clicks on this, they can actually see all of the webinars that we previously have done. You can click on all of these and the videos all pop up from all these various webinars that we've done. So there are lots of different ways that you can be able to connect with a college from your home, from your couch, and be able to learn a lot. There also are financial aid sessions, opportunities to do interviews and so forth. I also queued up a couple of these other pages so you could see. So for example, if you go to majors and, oops, I thought I had that pulled up. We'll do this on academics. Hopefully this will give you a sense of how you can look for majors. So for example, here's a whole list of majors. So let's say, as I mentioned biology before, let's click on biology and it will show you everything about the biology program right here, who you can contact, faculty and staff that you can get in touch with. It shows you all about the program and highlights and so forth. So, and these are all videos, and articles and so forth. So it does give students a really nice opportunity to dig in and learn a lot more about a specific program. It tells you about the requirements of the major. So just wanted to give you a sense of how you can kind of zip around a website and learn so much. I also, for athletics, for example, you can go right to the athletic page and see all that you want about sports, about the various teams that maybe you've got a particular team that you're looking for. Great way to be able to go and just click on that particular team. Let's click on football, for example, and it takes you right to it, and you get a chance to learn all about the team and the coaches and so forth. So lots of ways to get around, a lot of information on a webpage. You can spend a lot of time on a college's website learning a ton. So just wanted to give you a little bit of a sense of how to navigate and how to actually look for some of those things that are really important as you're considering a college. So let me get back to my PowerPoint here. And I think we were down here. I think I've got to get back to this, sorry. Get it all, here we go. Okay, so one thing I also wanted to talk about, let me get this up here. There we go. Okay, we're back in business. One thing that I also wanted to talk about is financial aid and the process. And as I mentioned, there was even a place on our website and many websites where you can actually do a financial aid session and be able to attend that. So keep that in mind as you're considering colleges, because you want to know how much it's going to cost. I mean, if you don't have any idea of how much it's going to cost, you know, it may not be any kind of option for you. So the financial aid piece is important. Look at need-based and merit-based financial aid. Need-based is like grants and work study and loans and things like that. Merit-based is scholarships and grants and money that you don't have to necessarily pay back to a college. So look at both of those types of financial aid, which are really important. Search for scholarships at colleges, both at the college and nationally. There are some national scholarships out there that you can apply for. The free application for federal student aid is a great resource for students and families. You can go on there, even if you're a sophomore, let's say, you can go on to the FAFSA website and just get a feel for it, for the types of things that they ask for and so forth. There also is a net price calculator. Every college has a net price calculator that will give you a rough idea of what a college might cost. You literally can put in your numbers and get a sense of what your family might be able to contribute. Then it's also very important that you pay attention to financial aid deadlines, which would be listed on all these web pages. And then certainly throughout the process, save money. We're always going to suggest that. Just be putting away money. And some college websites may talk to you about how you can do that and give you tips on how to do that as well. So those are some of the things that I just wanted to touch on, just to give you a sense of how to navigate a college website and the types of things to be looking for. So now I'm actually going to turn it over to Lorraine to talk a little bit about building connections.
Thank you. So building connections is a very important aspect to get your name connected with all the institutions you're interested in applying for. So we're going to move to the next slide. So every school has an admissions representative. What's great about every institution, there are dedicated people like Nancy that focus solely on admissions to recruit and yield students to get to their institution. Some institutions you will find will also have larger institutions will also have an admissions representative in their particular college. So it's important to connect with any type of admissions representative at the institution that you are really interested in attending. They not only are there as a resource, but they're there sometimes as an advocate during the admissions review process as well. So the more you're connecting with them, just the more information you can gain about the institution and more of the questions you can get answered throughout your whole application process. So you want to always find out who your representative is at the institution, and if they have a college level, who that college level one is as well. Seek them out, email them, call them. What institutions love are when the students take ownership over their academics and are the ones that are initiating those conversations. We love the parents do that, and the parents are those coaches and supports, but it really speaks volumes when the students are able to speak about themselves on their behalf and advocate for themselves to admissions representatives. So making sure the student is contacting through email, phone, A lot of institutions will have a virtual chat now. So what's great is we have all these different opportunities with the website and virtual campus tours and things of that nature, but there are real people that are working for your benefit to make sure that they are recruiting the best class possible for their institution. So connecting with them is just an extremely important piece of their puzzle when you're going through this application process. Sometimes there'll be your contact for your interview if the institution has an interview process, and you really just want to keep them updated on any types of changes. If you're thinking about changing your major, well, who can I contact to learn more about that particular major? Or I'm moving out of state, how would that affect my financial aid if I decide to come? Or I just got diagnosed with a learning disability. What type of resources does this institution have that can help me when I begin in the fall? So the admissions rep person is really an instrumental piece of your application puzzle. Then we can go to the next slide. So when you're making these connections, you really want to create your list of colleges, really look at all the different pieces from the student support and asking all those different questions of your admissions rep. They have the connections and the referrals across institution that could really help guide you and help you figure out what's going to be the best fit for you while you're going through this process. One huge piece is a college email, separate from your school email, separate from your personal email, your parents' email, your family email, a specific college email that you are going to check on a regular. And you also want to have someone else that's in your support team that's going through this application process with you to have access to that email. So you want to check that email on a regular basis because admissions reps will send the answers to your questions to that email address. They'll invite you to virtual events, virtual webinars, virtual ambassador chats through that email address. So it's just important that you are constantly checking that email address and responding in an appropriate, timely manner. You don't want something to lag. It may be a scholarship that the admissions rep says, hey, this would be a great scholarship for you to apply to. With the new scholarship, you have a 2-week deadline. You got to make sure you're checking and responding in a timely manner and making sure that when you're doing that, you're asking updated questions and giving them updated information as just as much as possible. So that team, a support team for the admissions piece, is just really important to that whole transition of recruitment and yield into the institution for you. So I think we'll move on to the next slide of seeing the campus, which I think is one of the most exciting parts.
Absolutely. So I am back to talk about seeing the campus. And what we want to do is just give you some visuals here too. And so we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things you should be looking for. One thing I wanted to add to what Lorraine had mentioned is also when you're creating an email address for a college, make sure it's appropriate. Because in my close to 30 years in admissions, I've seen all kinds of email addresses. So make sure it's appropriate, make sure it's something you would want a college to see, and just keep that in mind. But it's really important that you check it. I can tell you from personal experience with my own children, my son would constantly let all of his emails just stack up, and it just, you know, tons and tons and tons of emails were in his inbox and he was missing out on really important information. So very, very important point that, that you check that email and that you've got appropriate email addresses. So in talking about seeing the campus, so that virtual experience is really important. So again, we're all sitting here in our homes, from your couch, from your chair. You can actually check out a lot of different colleges, which is fantastic. So the campus tour is a must-do. So you absolutely, if you don't get an opportunity to go to a campus, and many campuses are not hosting tours, there are some that are, so it's important to double check, but a lot aren't. So you can do a lot of this legwork from sitting right here in your home. Typically, they're going to include, the campus tour will include student voices, faculty voices and experiences. It may be narrated. So colleges can do a variety of different things to kind of get the word out to you. And then we've got some examples of virtual tours that we're going to show you here in just 1 minute. But then there are also other tours. So you could take a tour of the residence halls. If a college offers that, you can click right on that and see right inside of all the different residence halls of colleges. You can click on athletics. So as I was mentioning, and I showed you the athletic page, you can click on that and see facilities and videos of the different teams and so forth. Fine arts also have videos of performances potentially, their facilities and spaces. So there are lots of different types of tours that you can do once you get to a college website. So that's something also that's really important to keep in mind. So I'm going to turn it over to Seneca. I'm going to stop sharing this, and then Seneca is going to share her screen so that you can actually see some of these virtual tours. So take it away.
I know I'm
Oh.
muted, sorry. All right, so we have a couple of different campus tours we just wanted to show you because schools have done things differently. And so you saw a little bit of how Denison does it. Someone said they're interested in Central State. So I'll show you a few minutes of Central State's video. We'll take a look at Columbus State's video, and then OU has a really cool one. So we'll show you a little bit of that one. Hopefully you can hear.
Located on a 638-acre campus in Wilberforce, Ohio, Central State University is consistently ranked among the nation's top universities by U.S. News and World Report for affordability and engineering. Central State University is made up of 4 highly respected colleges: education, business, science, technology, engineering, and agriculture, and humanities, arts, and social sciences. With more than 2,000 undergraduates, Central State boasts an advantageous 13-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio. Our student life builds close-knit communities and lifelong friendships. Central State is also ranked as the most affordable public 4-year university in the state of Ohio, which is made even more exciting with the new Marauder Tuition Guarantee, which provides incoming students 0% tuition increase over the course of their 4-year studies. Central State is embarking on innovative research in the areas of hemp, water resources, and sustainable agriculture. We have 2 Ohio Centers of Excellence in advanced energy and cultural and societal transformation. We'll start our tour with the university's most iconic structure, the Clock Tower. The tower was built in 1906. Despite a devastating tornado in 1974 that ravaged the region, the Clock Tower was one of the few campus structures that stood tall and continues to do so. It serves as an eternal guidepost for Central State students and alumni.
So that's just to give you a little taste of Central State. And we will go to Columbus State now. And
Yay, Central State.
Hi everyone, welcome to Columbus State. My name is Megan and I am getting my Associates of Science. I will actually be graduating in a couple of days. We are practicing social distancing here. I have my masks. I'm going to show you around Columbus State. So let's head into Davidson really quick. Okay, everybody, we are in Davidson Hall right now. This is the STEM building. So science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But for the most part, you're going to have a lot of your math classes in here. On the top floor, we do have math tutoring. So if you need any help with math or you really want to ace that exam, feel free to go up there and get some tutoring in math. We do have Sips Cafe. It'll be up and running when we come back on campus. Unfortunately, it is closed right now. Okay, everybody, we are in Madison Hall. We are on the upper level. This is Student Central right here. So this is basically the Google of the campus. So if you have any questions at all, you can come to them first, and they will refer you out to any other resources that would accommodate you. We also have the assistant lab over here. So basically, we have student employees that work in there, and they are walking around, seeing if whatever you need. So you could scan any documents into the campus. If you need to do your FAFSA, if you have any questions about your FAFSA, or if you just need to simply register for a class, the student employees in there will be able to help you out. But specifically, Student Central works with financial aid. So if you have any financial aid questions at all, this would definitely be your place.
all right. And then I will do a few minutes of OU and kind of show you how this one works. Oh, well, once we get past this part. Okay. All right. so-
Welcome to Ohio University, home of America's best student-centered learning experience. Ohio University was founded more than 200 years ago when this area, the College Green, was used as a grazing field for livestock. Today, the Green is one of the most beautiful and lively spots on campus, where students make their way to class, toss a frisbee, hang with friends, or simply relax with the latest novel. Every fall, our student involvement fair takes place here, showcasing more than 400 organizations students can take part in, depending on their interests.
So as you can see, this will give you an opportunity to push arrows. And so on the side here, it has kind of a catalog of the different buildings that they have. But if you click the arrow, it will kind of take you to the next building and talk to you about that building. So
Cutler Hall. Housing the offices of the university president and provost and completed in 1819, Cutler Hall is the oldest building erected for higher
we'll just go to the
education
next
west of the
one.
Allegheny Mountains. Not only the oldest, but also one of the most recognizable buildings on Galbraith Chapel. Nestled in the corner of College Green, its distinctive steeple a beacon to people of all faiths, Galbraith Chapel is a fitting symbol of Ohio University's inclusive community. Named for alumna Helen Mock Galbraith and commissioned in her memory in 1957
Okay.
by her husband, John Galbraith, the chapel's
So I just wanted to keep clicking the arrow so you can kind of see it really doesn't do it justice without going there, but it is definitely a great visual for you.
Thank you, Seneca. So hopefully that gave you just kind of a little glimpse of what the virtual tours look like, and they're all very different, but we'll give you some good information. The one you saw, you had a tour guide. The other one, you were kind of your own tour guide by clicking around at OU. And then you had someone who was kind of narrating over the tour with Central State. And so it's really nice to know that you can get information in a variety of different ways. And so that's where these virtual tours come in extremely, extremely handy. So let me get back to the PowerPoint here. Let's do that. That should bring it back up. Okay, very good. So, so again, hopefully that gave you a sense. And again, you'll see all these special kind of individual tours that you can do that are specialized, and we'll show you a variety of different things there. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Higg Palmer.
Great, thank you so much. So my piece is just really to reiterate everything that you've seen and kind of put it all in one nutshell. Just to piggyback on all of the virtual experiences, people. Now, I do want to say before I start getting into that a little bit, that you saw these virtual campus tours. Students, please take the opportunity to actually do the tours. We're living in a different time with this COVID. And so you want to make sure you're doing all your research, all your looking at colleges from the couch while you're at home. So when you get here on campus, whether it's here at the University of Toledo, Denison, Central State, the Ohio State University, wherever, you've actually had a chance to view the campus virtually. With that said, let's talk about people. Schedule those one-on-one virtual appointments. Remember, we're in a pandemic. A lot of the campuses, including the University of Toledo, we have a lot of offices closed. My office, which is the Student Support Services office, is open. We have students, but a lot of offices on campus with advisors, they're closed. Appointments are virtual. So you want to take advantage of that. Those admissions counselors, those in the departments where you want to ask questions about student life, they're open virtually. And a lot of times, even with some of the admissions counselors, I mean, they're working late hours, because there's so many students interested and want to come in and get information. So please make and stay on top of your online virtual appointments. Again, that goes into the online informational sessions and webinars. I think that was Denison that had a great list of all kind of webinars where students can get a lot of information. When you're browsing and doing your virtual tours, look at some of those webinars. Check out the chats. I always encourage students, pre-college students that are coming in, sign up for their Instagram. Get on Instagram, like their pages. You get a lot of information like that. I'm not sure if the students are still using Facebook, but I do. But do Facebook, Instagram, GroupMe's. I mean, there are a lot of free services and social media opportunities that institutions are really trying to gauge students that are interested in coming to the school. I can't remember what school that a student mentioned to me. I was talking to an incoming senior, and they actually said that the university they were interested in had a group me for those students interested in coming to the institution. And so they were part of that. Another great way that schools are marketing. So take advantage of those. And again, next question, next topic there, academic apartment and campuses office. Again, a lot of the offices on campuses are closed, but virtually they're open. Please take advantage of that. Get your connections with those people while you're at home, because when we do recover from COVID, those offices on campus will be open and you've already established those relationships. Next slide. So I think I kind of talked about this a little bit, the Facebook, the Instagram, Twitter, please subscribe to those. Like those pages, post information. You'll get a chance to see what's going on at their campuses and even participate in some campus events. Our campus, like many other campuses, are always having free conferences, events, activities that are open to the public. Go ahead and sign up for those. We just had, this is Black History Month, we just had, and I think we still have some, what we call some watch parties. So we've been watching, one of the movies we watched on the campus was Disney Soul. And so that was open to the community. So we had tons of community people on that and students watching the Disney Soul with the watch party with the University of Toledo. And so there was also Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. That's another play. It's a play. So there's lots of activities. Go onto those institutions, their websites, and look at their activities and calendars and sign up for those free events. So that way it kind of gets you in the feel of being involved, being a part, and feeling that you really belong on that campus before you get there. Oh, and again, last one, connect with students, the email and panels, kind of same thing. You know, it's very important that you do. I think someone talked about establishing an email that is just really for your college applications. Use that email. Use that email when you're subscribing to information and requesting information back and forth from the institution. Use that same email when you're signing up to do the campus watch parties or series. Use that email when you're doing anything with that institution that you're interested in. So make sure that you are connecting, stay connected, so that you can be informed and know what's going on the campus. Thank you.
Excellent. So we're at a point where we want to be able to spend the last bit of our time together answering your questions, because that's really, really important in this process. One thing that I wanted to reiterate just from all the information that you got is, you know, ultimately you take control of your college search, right? And so you can make it what you want to make it. And ultimately you want to be an informed person as you're going into this process. So just know that there are a lot of people available. And one thing that Toysi mentioned is, you know, there are admissions people working into the evening. I, on my cell phone, just now got an email from a student, and I'll get back to them. And, you know, that's okay. That's what we do. That's what we're used to. And doing things in the evening so that it works with students and families. As you're in school and working, we want to be able to have programs that are available to students and families in the evening. So oftentimes you may want to sign up for a webinar and see that, oh yeah, okay, this works with my schedule, I can do that. So just make sure that you're taking advantage of all the things that colleges have to offer in this virtual environment. And as I mentioned, colleges are definitely beefing up what they're doing and really providing so much more than literally I think we ever have online now. And so everyone was kind of forced in this situation, but it's created a really good environment to be able to do your research in ways that you didn't have an opportunity to do that before. So we want to open it up to you and see what kind of questions you have. So you can either put something in the chat or unmute yourself. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can see folks, but feel free to ask away and we'll just all jump in and answer them. Do we have any questions so far?
Yes, I will ask the questions, even though they were answered, I will still ask them. So what are good college engines to find the right colleges?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And actually, you know what, Seneca, you put these in, but yeah, US News and World Report, College Board, those are great places where you can go on and they actually, you kind of do an assessment there. So they kind of ask you, okay, do you want to be in state, out of state, big school, small school? And they help you kind of whittle down a list so that you can start with the things that are most important to you. And you can start with a group of colleges based on that. So those are really great search engines to look for colleges. And, you know, if there are places, sometimes when you're on vacation, you may have had a chance to pop on a college campus. That's something I always suggest if you haven't done that, even in COVID times, even if it's just doing a drive-by, you know, hop on that college campus, get a feel. We've actually had a lot of people do that with Denison, where they're just like, hey, we just drove down from Cleveland. We just wanted to take a look. That's great. Get a chance to get a feel in the best way that you possibly can of what a college might be like. But those are great search engines to get started.
Awesome.
Other questions?
So another one is junior year the best time to visit college campuses?
Yeah, and whoever wants to jump in can jump in. Absolutely. And I always say it's never too early to start. So if you're a sophomore or a freshman, start getting on college campuses. Junior year makes sense kind of in the natural flow of things to start visiting colleges. You're starting to work with your list and you're whittling it down, then get to some of those campuses to check it out. Because when you go into your senior year, you want to have a good sense of what schools you're thinking about. You may be somebody who decides to apply early decision, and early decision basically is if a college is your very top choice and you're like 100% I want to go to this school, if they admit me, I am enrolling. Early decision is a nice option. And so what I'll typically see is students will come in their junior year to really start whittling it down in a big way so that when they go into their senior year, they may say, hey, okay, this is my top choice school. I'm going to apply early decision or early action to get information sooner about the colleges that I'm interested in. So yeah, junior year definitely, but certainly if you've got a chance sophomore or a freshman year, go for it. Absolutely.
And, any of our college folks or Nancy, can you explain what early decision and early action is, just in case we don't know what
Yes.
that means?
Do you guys want me to take that? Okay. I feel like I'm talking a lot, but anyway, early decision is basically a binding agreement. So when you apply, there's a form called an early decision agreement form. And again, if you've looked at all your colleges and you know there is one at the top of your list that if they say you are admitted, then you are absolutely going to go to, then you may want to think about applying early decision. The agreement form actually has to be signed. You can only apply to one college early decision. The agreement form actually has to be signed by you, your parent, and your high school counselor. And you all say that we all understand that if Johnny gets admitted, he will enroll in this college. So it is a commitment. You are taking a place in the class is basically what's happening. So you have to be 100% sure. Now, you can get your financial aid, so you know what the financial aid picture is before you have to make that enrollment. But basically, you are committing to going to that particular institution. If you're admitted and your financial aid looks good, you're going. Okay, that's what early decision is. Early action is where you get an opportunity to apply early, and a college will get back to you early, but you still would have until May 1st or June 1st. Some colleges have extended their deadlines to June 1 to make a decision. So you can hear back from several colleges that you've applied early action for, which basically means they're acting on your application early and they give you your information back early so that you can really be thinking about it and compare colleges, but you still have until May 1st or June 1st to make a decision.
Can I jump in with the early action piece?
Yeah.
Early action as well helps you with scholarship and financial aid. So sometimes when students apply with regular admission, you've kind of missed sometimes the window for scholarships, but early action deadline, at least for Ohio State, really make sure that students are in that scholarship pool.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I have a question about early decision. What happens if I make an early decision to Ohio State and then Central State comes back and says, we'll give you the full ride presidential scholarship? What do I do then?
Yeah, so that's where if you've made a commitment to that institution and you have enrolled, that is the end. So that's why you gotta be 100% sure. That's where this research is really important, right? So if you're like, wait, I wanna apply for this presidential scholarship at Central State, I wanna apply to Ohio State, like you've got to do your research so that you know if everybody's signing on the dotted line that you're gonna go to that institution, you have got to be sure because that's what you're agreeing to. And that's why that agreement is in place. So, so if you're not sure, or if you're going back and forth between a couple of colleges, early decision is not the way to go. But if you know for sure this is my top choice, then you may want to do that.
So my next question on that is what happens if I get sick? Would I be able to still have that early decision?
If you get sick and can't go to college, you mean like for that
Right,
semester or something?
if I get sick and can't go that fall, does everything count for the spring or even the next fall?
It'll vary from college to college, but yes, something like that is a special circumstance, and it's just a matter of relaying that to the admission office or the institution to say, hey, I need to defer that for a year or for a semester. Colleges are definitely very, very understanding as far as that's concerned. Other
Yeah.
questions?
So we've got a question from Cameron. Are private colleges better?
Well, I'm at a private college, and I will say this, there are colleges for everybody, private, public, what have you. So it all comes down to you, right? And you may say, hey, you know what? I'm a public college person. I want a big school, or you may say, hey, you know what? I'm going to go to this community college, or I'm gonna go to this private school. It's up to you. So I always say it's back on you as to whether or not a private school is good for you or not, because everybody has a good fit. My son went to a large school, my daughter went to a small school. So even within a family, very different choices with what they decided to do. So it really is up to you.
And to piggyback on that, I would also say that keeping that in mind, be open. Check out a private college, check out a public college, check out a community college, be open. Just don't be stuck in the mindset, oh, I want to go to a huge institution. Check out our HBCUs. We have 2 historically Black institutions here in the state of Ohio, Central State and Wilberforce University, right in our backyard, down near Dayton in Wilberforce, Ohio. Check them out. Central State is a larger institution, public. Wilberforce is a private, small. So that might be for you. So be open-minded and check out all of them. Anything else? Anybody else want to say anything?
I would also say define what you think is large and what you think is small. Because I went to Central State University, which I thought was big until I worked at Kent State, which is huge compared to Central State, which at the time, Central State had 3,000 students. Kent State had 25,000 students. And when you're in a class of 20 people versus a class of 120 people, that could be a huge difference. There are private HBCUs, there are public HBCUs. So it just depends on where you want to go to school. So make sure that you understand and when they say that, when you saw Central State and they said 13-1, that meant there's the average 13 students in a classroom to 1 professor. So understand how big you want your class to be. If you want your class to have 120 people and you just want to just be in there, or if you want that one-on-one in relationship with that professor, not to say that you can't have that one-on-one relationship with that professor if there's 120 students, but just know what you're getting when you look for a big school and a small school.
One other thing I would add, and I think Seneca's going to say something too. One other thing I would add is there are some colleges that are actually having virtual classroom visits. So you can actually Zoom on in to a classroom, and then you would really get a feel like, oh, okay, is this big? Is this small? What's best for me personally, and not my friend or not my relative. What's best for me, and where am I going to do my best learning? And that's really what you need to ask yourself.
And that's what I was going to say. You definitely have to know yourself or start to think about yourself, because I went to a very large school here in town. And I remember a freshman class of about 500 people in the front and the balcony. It was a lot of people. However, you also have to know that even though, don't get scared away by that, because they have something called lecture and recitation, and a lot of people don't say that when we're talking, they talk about OSU and how big it is, but I've been in classes at OSU where there were probably 9 or 10 of us in a class. No one talks about that either. And so, but in grad school, I went to a smaller school and I thought, oh, this is a different experience. And so, you have to know who you are. You have to know if you, I put earlier about a social fit, an academic fit, and a financial fit, because you have to also know if you are a social butterfly and you apply for HBCU, yeah, because part of it is socializing, but I socialize just as much at OSU, right? Or just as much at OU. And part of it is the social fit. We will never say that you will, but college should be the best time of your life. And even though we're in COVID, they try to make experiences for you to still socialize with one another, and we will not be here forever. But just know yourself, know who you are and how you like to interact. And if you know that the thought of being in class with 500 people like terrifies you, then you might want to think twice about some of the other, because there's 4,500 colleges and universities for you to choose from. So.
Exactly. One thing I was going to add to that is we actually have about 1,800 of our 2,300 students are actually on campus. So we have been in person both fall and spring, which is pretty amazing. But one thing that our president did, because we've all been in this deep freeze right now, one thing that our president did when we came back on February 1st was he said, I bought stocking caps for everybody. So so everybody, including faculty and staff, I got back to my office and there was a stocking cap on my desk. But so that everybody can be outside and spend time outside and socialize, because that social piece is really important. Even in these COVID times, just being able to be outside together or to be in spaces where you're spread apart, but you're still together is really important. And so that was a really nice, fun thing that everybody could come back to in an effort to kind of get out and about and be able to spend time together. So, so those are important things as well. I saw a question in here about, is there a price difference between public and private? Yes, you will see sticker prices that are very different, drastically different, by thousands and thousands of dollars different. However, that's exactly what financial aid is all about. And that's why those forms are very important. The free application for federal student aid, almost every college is going to require for you to submit to be considered for need-based financial aid. Scholarships, you don't have to complete the FAFSA form for. You could just apply to various colleges. Some colleges may have a scholarship application. Some colleges may say, hey, if you just fill out our general application, we're going to consider you for all of our scholarships. But it will vary sticker price from college to college. But what the financial aid does is it kind of evens the playing field. And so there are students, for example, Denison right now is $70,000 a year. That's a large sticker price. However, we have people that are attending Denison that are paying $1,000 a year. We have people that are paying $10,000. It just depends upon their family situation and what they can afford to pay for college. So potentially you could even out the playing field and pay the exact same amount at a public school as you would at a private school, but it is going to vary from family to family. So that's why that financial aid is really important. Even if you think, hey, we may not get a lot of financial aid, I always say fill the forms out anyway. You never know what kind of financial aid you might get, and apply for all scholarships out there. Whatever you can apply for, do. And the national scholarships. Your high school counselors will have lists of scholarships that you can apply for that are national. So keep all of those things in mind. I don't know if anybody else wants to add anything.
I just wanted to let you guys know that for Central State University, it is one of the cheapest institutions, public institutions in the state of Ohio. I want to say our tuition is about $15,000 a year, might be cheaper than that. So when you're considering that, consider both, because there are private schools who will give you scholarships so that that'll make it the same amount of money as it is to go to a private school, a public school. So when you're looking at price, you have to look at your financial aid package that they give you and the price of the institution. Don't say, I can't go to a private school because I can't afford it. Fill out the FAFSA, fill out scholarships. Also, don't say, I don't want to go to a public school because it might be too cheap and they might not have the accommodations. Go visit, look at everything, and you might be happier at a public cheap institution. Also, make sure that they have your major. I don't want you to end up at Central State University looking for a nursing degree, and we don't have nursing. I'm sorry. So make sure that you look at the institution and they have your major. And I understand that asking you to pick a major in 8th grade about what you want to do for the rest of your life might be difficult, but at least have an idea of what you might be interested in and make sure that that school has that area. Because like I said, I don't want you to end up at Central State looking for a nursing degree and we don't have a nursing program.
Exactly. That's where that research is really helpful. There are also institutions where you can actually, come in undecided and take some time to determine your major. Or you may start off with one and switch to another and so forth. So there are so many different things that colleges have to offer. And that's, again, where that research is really, really helpful and important. And there was one other question, I think, how do you know which schools allow you to Zoom in? Actually, just hop on their websites. That's going to be the best way. That's kind of, again, all of this is brand new because most colleges haven't done this, right? And so it will vary from college to college, but just go onto their websites and check it out. If there's a college you're interested in, look and see what types of virtual opportunities they have and go from there. Any other questions? And then we will let you all get on your way. Is there anything else anyone can think of?
Aaliyah, did you have any questions for me? I know you were interested in Central State.
No, not at the moment. I couldn't think of any.
Okay. Have you been to visit?
No, but I'm planning on visiting probably when it gets warmer.
That will be advised.
Can you put your email in the chat so that we can go ahead and that way you can connect in case Aaliyah has some additional questions for you. That will be a good way.
All right, Aaliyah, there is my email information.
Thank you.
Well, I will turn it over to Seneca to wrap us up.
All right. Well, you all, thank you for being with us this evening. We hope that you were able to take away some really good information and get you started. I know the majority or all of you on here were juniors or sophomores or, in different areas or years. So hopefully you will start your journey and you have that CAP email address that you received the invite from. So if questions come up, send questions to us there. We manage that. We will be able to answer questions and kind of help to lead you and direct you in different ways. So again, please feel free to answer any questions. And it is now 7:31. And we say good night to you. Thank you for being with us. Bye.